Welcome in, everyone. Picks and Parlays Bettors Edge. This is it, guys. The last episode of the year. We've made it this far. We're at Super Bowl weekend, and I don't think to anyone's surprise, maybe actually both of your surprise, but I picked the Chiefs to be here. I expected the Chiefs to be in this situation. The Niners and the Chiefs in Las Vegas in Super Bowl 58. Fun fact, the last time these two teams played, I was actually at the Super Bowl covering them in Miami. I saw that superb Kansas City Chiefs fourth quarter comeback. It was insane. Poni, I was just telling Craig before you guys jumped on that Chiefs Kingdom shows up. It was loud. Even though that crowd seems to be a 50-50 split, Chiefs Kingdom is rocking at all times. So it was insane. The Kansas City Chiefs, though, to get there this year, they had to take the road gauntlet way this time. They were able to do that. They're seeking back-to-back titles. And get this, the last time that an NFL team won consecutive Super Bowls, Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes were in elementary school. They are now the quarterbacks of these Super Bowl teams. Looking forward to seeing who comes out on top. We all know what Patrick Mahomes can do in these big moments, but what can Brock Purdy do? The 49ers obviously looking for a Lombardi for the first time in about 2 decades. So, Poni, when you look at this game, what stands out to you? What do you like best?
Well, that ages me a little bit because when the Patriots won that second of 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, I was a freshman in college. You were you even in elementary school, Hannah? Where were you in life? Were you at that Super Bowl in Jacksonville? Probably not. You were like
No,
10 years
I was
old.
in elementary school. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And props to the Picks and Parlays budget to send you to Miami for that
It
Super Bowl
wasn't
2
picks
years
and
ago. Way
parlays.
to go, Craig, on that one.
I wish.
Yeah. Okay, so you're asking me how I feel about the game. You want a spread pick here, Hannah, to
I
start? Is that what
do.
we're
Give
gonna
me
do
your
here?
give me your best bet when you're looking at those numbers, because the Chiefs right now are a 2.5 point underdog, total at 47.5. So when you're looking at some of those numbers, what do you like best?
So I haven't learned my lesson at all. I've bet against the Chiefs in every playoff game. I had Miami loser. I had Buffalo loser. I had Baltimore loser. They have killed me in the playoffs here. I've picked against them because of what their offense was during the season. And I have not factored in the Mahomes effect and the ability of that offense to rise to the occasion. And their defense was phenomenal all year, ranked second in the league. But I keep thinking about the way they lost their last game, and that was to the Raiders on Christmas. And the way that upset happened was Vegas ran the ball so well on Kansas City in that game. They didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. And I think Baltimore could have won that game against the Chiefs had they not just flat out, straight up abandoned the run. For Lamar Jackson to only run it 8 times, for Gus Edwards to touch the ball only 3 times, that offensive strategy was a bust and a big-time failure by Todd Monken and John Harbaugh to make it more about the air attack of the Baltimore offense. I don't think Kyle Shanahan, with 2 weeks to get ready, is going to make the same mistake. We saw how vulnerable Kansas City's run defense was in the first half against Buffalo when Josh Allen and that run game was so effective against Kansas City. That was a big problem for them. They were the second-ranked overall defense, Hannah, but they were 18th against the run. And we've seen now Christian McCaffrey has averaged in these 2 playoff games he's played in 24 touches per game. He is healthy, and I think that is the catalyst to a 49ers win and a 49ers cover. I'm taking McCaffrey to run the ball so well against the Chiefs defense. That will negate to some extent Patrick Mahomes and his touches. The 49ers will win time of possession in this game, and they will cover the 2.5. But I say that I'm being completely transparent, full disclosure with you guys. I have picked against Kansas City in every one of these games, and I don't want to stop now. So I'm going to go with the 49ers minus 2.5.
That's a bold pick there, Poni, going against the Chiefs again. You would think you'd just keep learning your lesson, but I mean, here we
No,
are.
not
You're
going to
just
flip
gonna keep
flop.
doing
Going
it.
to ride it out to the bitter end here.
I can respect that. For that reason, I'm not going to flip-flop my thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs. And I've been on the Niners bandwagon at times this season with some of the big numbers that they've had because of the talent that they have on that team and because of their defense. But do you know who's had the better looking defense as of late is the Kansas City Chiefs. I've been extremely impressed in what they've put together in postseason play. So I'm going to have to look at this game and say that this feels like it's a little bit more evened out from that side of things. And then if it comes down to it, if it's a shootout and Mahomes and the Chiefs have the ball, it's almost 9 times out of 10 one of the most dangerous situations to be in if you're the opposition. So I do think the Kansas City Chiefs can at least either keep it to a 1-point game or come out and win the game. I would not be surprised at all. Like I said, I was at that Super Bowl. I watched them when they were down 10 points after the third and came back and scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. I also think it's so hard, even as good as the Niners defense was all regular season. I know they've struggled a bit in the playoffs. It's really hard to game plan for a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes and an Andy Reid offense that's consistently creative. But even more than that, it's hard to prepare for this type of moment. And Patrick Mahomes has been there, done that. Travis Kelce, been there, done that. A lot of their big star players, been there, done that. So I don't think they're going to flinch in this type of game, even if they're down. And a quarterback like Brock Purdy, we've seen him be exposed at times this season. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Chiefs here. I'm going to say that +2.5 is where I like my best bet when we're looking at this side. Craig, are you going to break the tie here? What do you like? Who are you going with? Can you ride with the Chiefs, or you've been
Well,
against them? Or are you going to stick with
yeah,
flip flop, not going to flip flop as well?
I'm very similar to Pony. I did have them the week one in the cold weather at home. I had that game, but then since then I've bet against them, and we know how that ended. I'm taking a total here because I'm just going to take, and I'll tell you who I like on the side as well. But I just think when you have this 49ers defense that has been suspect in the playoffs, like they really should have lost both of these games. I mean, it took two really good second halves to win these last 2 weeks. You do that again this week, they're going to lose. So I like the over here. I think the over is it's inflated a little bit. Obviously, Super Bowl people like points, but I still think with the extra time to prepare, with a healthier Debo Samuel, which I really believe he's the key to this team. As much as I love Christian McCaffrey, he's great. But the problem is there's no game plan for a 1 yard pass that turns into a touchdown. And that's what Debo Samuel can do on a little handoff, a little pitch. You can throw it to him, a screenplay. There's a million ways, and it makes everybody else on their team better. I think the San Francisco defense will give up plenty of points as well. And I do think the Chiefs, we saw it against the Bills. When they need to go score, they can. When they feel like they have to outscore teams, I still think they can do it. I think that's going to be the key here. So I'm going to take the over as like my best play. I would play San Francisco -2, 2.5, depending on where you get it at, depending on your book. I do think the 49ers are the better team. I do think this is rare that they actually have a coaching edge, which usually Andy Reid, I think, is just a better coach than what we've seen the last 2 weeks. I think that's where those games were won, his coaching ability versus the others. I think this is two offensive geniuses against each other. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, when you're talking a lot about the offense and putting points on the board, that's where I went with my Chiefs prop bet. So let's move into prop bets now and what we like for anyone who loves to put together a little bit of a Super Bowl parlay. My best prop bet for the Kansas City Chiefs in this one, I like the Chiefs team total over 23.5 points. Like I said, when I watched that Super Bowl the last time these two teams played in Miami, the Chiefs put up 21 points in the fourth quarter. They were more than capable of putting up big points when it mattered most. So, even more important, though, we keep talking about the high powered offenses, how good these defenses have been as well, especially in the regular season. The Chiefs allowed just 17.3 points per game, and then the Niners just 17.5. But the caveat here is the Niners defense that we were enamored with all season because of that low number that they were allowing teams to score are now giving up 26 points per game in the postseason. Well, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are also scoring an average of between 3 to 5 more points in the postseason than they were in the regular season. So I'm going to say that I like the Chiefs in this one to be a higher scoring team as well. Like Craig said, maybe an offensive battle at times with what the Niners defense had looked like. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Chiefs team total over 23.5. I could make a score prediction if I wanted to. I don't know if I love the over because the number that kept coming in my head was like 24-21 or something around there in favor of the Chiefs. So we'll see. But if it is higher powered and higher scoring, all in favor of the Chiefs being the team to do that. Team total over 23.5. Pony, when you look at your favorite prop bets for this one and sticking with the Chiefs on this side, what did you come to?
All right, so mine is an MVP bet. I would not make it your biggest bet. I would wager a little on it and hope that you win a lot. I think that it's okay on Super Bowl Sunday. You want to have fun to spread things out a little bit. And in this situation, when you bet markets like MVP, just don't make it as big as the other bets that you're more sure about, whether that's the 49ers -2.5 or some of the other player props that we'll get to here, or the total like Craig was talking about and Hannah was bringing up with the Chiefs total. So my MVP bet is going to be Kelsey at 17-1. And we've seen that this is a narrative based award. I also think that there might be some Mahomes fatigue with the MVP. He won both of the Chiefs' previous MVPs. He was deserving in both instances. But if you go back and look at some of these all-time great quarterbacks, Montana won the first two 49ers MVPs. Then Rice had a 200-yard game. He got the one in the third game. Brady won his first two MVPs. Then Deion Branch caught a bunch of balls in their third Super Bowl win. Branch got the MVP. And we know what's going on with Kelsey. There's speculation that this might be his last game, that he might ride off into the sunset with his brother and Taylor Swift. We know Swift is coming from Japan to watch the game. That's a big deal. The guy just had a huge AFC championship game. I think voters in situations like this, the tie goes to their heart and not their heads. We've also never seen a tight end win the MVP of the Super Bowl. I think if it's close, voters might want to load up on that because they want to be a part of history. They want to vote for something that they've never seen before. So that would just be a surreal moment for the NFL if the Chiefs win and at the podium, Roger Goodell and Terry Bradshaw or whoever's doing the present or CBS, Jim Nance, they get to give that MVP award to Kelsey. And then there's the shot of Taylor Swift taking that all in. You can't tell me the NFL doesn't want that moment. And I think that 17-1 is just an incredible bargain on somebody.
With her Grammy,
Oh yeah,
right? With her Grammy, she's
insane.
bringing home that hardware. I mean,
He said at media night he needs more hardware to match
more
her.
hardware.
Nothing better than the MVP award, and I think writers are suckers for things like that.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good narrative, but I also think just the way that when you saw at times the Chiefs offense maybe not being as high powered or outshining their defense in the regular season, it's when Kelsey wasn't having a giant impact in the game. And then postseason comes around and it seems like something clicked. And that's also why one of my best bets was liking the Chiefs at +2.5, because when those two click and their connections working, they're a very hard team to beat. So I could see Kelsey being a huge impact player in this one as well. Craig, where's your Chiefs best prop bet laying in this one? Are you on the Kelsey train as well?
No. I think Patrick Mahomes over the rushing yards. I think both quarterbacks will go over the rushing yards, but I think the stronger is Patrick Mahomes. He's one of those guys. It's like it's not the 40-yard dash. It's not his. He's not like Lamar Jackson that's gonna like drop you and shake you and make you miss. He's just slippery. He just gets out, and in the times that you need him the most, he comes up with a couple big rushes. I think we'll see him get a couple big rushes. This pass rush is like, for the 49ers, they love to get up the field. Not the thing you want to do against a guy like Patrick Mahomes that will pump fake you and then go right by you. I like the over rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes. I think he'll do what it takes to move the chains several times during the games. You get me 3 of those first down type runs, that gets us over the 26.5 rushing yards.
You know what I like for the San Francisco 49ers? I usually don't like an anytime touchdown bet all the time, but it almost feels like the game is rigged when you take this bet. Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown scorer. When I'm looking at the Niners prop bets, it's hard for me to go against Christian McCaffrey getting in the end zone. So this anytime touchdown scorer bet feels a little bit more solid to me. I would almost encourage people to add this to a parlay. He scored a touchdown in every playoff game, now has 25 on the season, which is incredible. And when you look down at his statistics, I'm pretty sure all but maybe 2 games this season he's had a touchdown, whether that's a rushing touchdown, whether it's a receiving touchdown. McCaffrey is almost a lock in the end zone for this team, it seems like. So I'm going to go ahead and say Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. That's where my best prop bet is on the side of the Niners. Also nuts if you guys have seen the podcast that were coming out with him this season and what his dad made him do in his high school days. If you haven't seen it, go find those. He wasn't allowed. His dad tried to get him not to wear jeans to school because he thought it would be too heavy on his legs throughout the day, too much fatigue. Pretty crazy things. But hey, say what you want about Ed McCaffrey and his weird tactics. Christian McCaffrey finding his way into the end zone in a spectacular way this season. I think he does it again, Pony.
25 years ago, Ed McCaffrey and Mike Shanahan
Yep.
won the Super Bowl together with Denver. So that would be
Yeah. Awesome
really a
storyline
full
for the
circle
guy.
thing, yeah, for
Mhm.
them to now do it in San Francisco together. Father and the two sons, Kyle and Christian. I guess my theme here is just tight ends because my favorite 49ers prop is George Kittle over 47 and a half receiving yards. Now, he was way under that against Detroit. He went way over that against Green Bay. So he's yo-yoed back and forth here in the playoffs. Matchup game, though. So I look at Kansas City. A lot of the talk is going to be about the corners for Kansas City, who are quite good against the 49ers receivers. And I don't think that they're going to completely shy away from that. But I think the more advantageous thing is the middle of the field with Kittle against the Chiefs linebackers. We saw that Gay was injured against Baltimore, did not play. He will come back and play in this game, but will probably be less than 100%. The safeties are not as good as the corners. So I like middle of the field. I mean, we saw Kittle in the Baltimore game that they lost. I mean, he had the 47 yards locked up after the first quarter. It doesn't take much for that guy. And in a big moment, he's been rock steady, reliable guy. Brock Purdy, he knows he can count on McCaffrey for the checkdowns, but also Kittle on play actions and RPO plays and things like that. So I don't think it'll take much. If there's 4 catches from Kittle in this game, 1 per quarter, he'll go over 47 yards. I think the number is low because there was a letdown championship game. He was not involved. I think he'll be a much bigger staple in their game plan in this Super Bowl because the Chiefs linebacker matchup in this one.
Yeah, I think that's why these offenses are going to be so fun to watch because when you think about all these weapons, but when you have really good tight end play and two of the best in the league, two of the best to possibly ever do it in the league as well, these will be top 10 guys we think about all the time in terms of in the entirety of tight ends who have been in the league. So very excited to see how they are utilized in this game, or on the flip side of things, how defenses are planning to limit their impact as much as possible. Craig, when you look at the San Francisco 49ers and all their weapons, do you have anything specifically that you like?
I actually was right. I was on Kittle last game with the over, so I was very disappointed in his performance. And when you look at everybody else's numbers in the last game, it's unbelievable. He was the only guy that really didn't have a over his season average. I like him to have a bounce back, but I like a guy that's been rock solid all year. Debo Samuel over 58 and a half receiving yards. I also like him total yards as well. I just think the stronger will be the receiving yards, though, here at 58 and a half. I think he's the key to this team. As much as I like McCaffrey, he's the guy that, just can get, he's going to get the ball 25 times, but Debo only needs the ball 4 times. And 4 times can give you 100 yards. He's the guy that scares you to death because he can take 1 yard into a touchdown. It can be a screenplay. It can be a rush. It can be, a reverse. I mean, he can do it in so many different ways. He's going to be healthier. Last game, he was really banged up, still had a good game. I think he's sitting on a really big game. And if you're going to beat the Chiefs, I think it's not just throwing the ball down the field. I like their corners when they in pass coverage. It's the short yardage guys that all of a sudden, now a guy misses 1 tackle and that 1 yard pass becomes a long play. I like Debo Samuel over the passing yards. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. And I think Debo Samuel has a chance to be the MVP of the game, actually.
So what we're saying is all the stars. We think that all the stars are
Yeah.
aligning in this game. We've talked about Patrick Mahomes. We've talked about Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, Kelsey. I mean, we named everybody. We think that they're all going to rise to the moment. So if we're
Brock
right,
Purdy. The guy we
we
didn't mention was Brock Purdy.
no, he just has to. I think he just has to play a pretty solid game here. Get the ball to all the stars that we just mentioned, because that's how the 49ers have been winning all season. So I think that's how they can get it done if that's the case here. But obviously we know I'm on the side of the Chiefs, so may the best man win in this one. But fellas, followers, it's been so fun this season with Picks and Parlays Bettors Edge. If you want more best bets heading into the Super Bowl weekend to make sure that you're as best prepared as possible, make sure you head over to that Picks and Parlays app. It's been a fantastic season, and thank you so much for following along, and best of luck and enjoy the Super Bowl. in Usher's performance. I guess the only prop we didn't talk about, will Taylor Swift make an appearance on the stage? Who
No,
knows? We'll see. Pony doesn't think so. I don't
no.
think so either. I don't think she's going to steal the moment. She already had her Grammy moment. She's not going to steal the moment from Travis Kelce. But all the Swifties will be in
Unless Usher
attendance.
gives her the microphone and she's just allowed to give the date of her next album release. That's the
Yeah.
only way she would do it. And then she would run off the stage and be done with it.
There we go. I think
For the
she's going
next
to be
one.
having a good old time in this
Agreed.
suite. But it's been a good
All right,
time
Anna.
this season as
Thank
well.
you.
I'll see you guys. Best of luck to you. Thanks for tuning in to Picks and Parlays Bettors Edge.